All right, today, ladder safety.
Why are you yelling about it?
Because I'm excited. That's why. Ladder safety.
Okay. You sound nuts.
Today's episode, ladder safety, not inspections, not all the stuff you see everywhere else. Talking about problems, solutions.
Yep, and user problems and how to fix them.
Yeah. So the first we have is problems overall. We got all kinds of problems with ladders and ladder safety. All right.
What's interesting about that is it should be one of the simplest things.
It's just a ladder. You pick it up, you put it up, you climb it, you're good to go.
But we still have people falling off.
Yes.
So
why? Because they get the wrong style.
Oh, okay.
That's one of them. So we're going to do some categories here. But first one's problem. So categories, wrong style.
Yep.
Another
I would
one.
agree with that.
Yep. Another one is too short.
Yep.
So like they go to grab one to go to 8 foot, and they get a 6 foot.
Yep. We end up on the top 2 steps or top 1 step. Yeah.
Absolutely. Aluminum. I don't know why we still see wooden ones that are made, or we see.
Well, wooden's a problem if you have any kind of food safety.
And then if you have aluminum, it kind of is weird for an MCC room, or if you're doing electrical work.
Yeah, we want to avoid that.
All right. Another one is staircase style.
The rolling staircases.
Yeah,
we're getting them to be safer, but.
Yeah, but people, it's like, do they need them? Do they not? When do they use them, or will they fit? And then so that whole concept of how do you select it?
Well, I feel like part of the issue is also we can't use them everywhere. So it sounds like a great idea in theory, but they're really
most places we go, you can't.
They're kind of cumbersome.
Yes.
You know, and they're difficult to steer and move around to get it to where you need to go.
Yeah. Another one is no spotter. We're using a ladder. We had just a few days ago. We were at a location. They go to put up the ladder. No one's there when they're climbing up or getting off of it. I've seen people kick the ladder and the ladder go to the ground. You see all kinds of weird stuff on videos about it.
Extension ladders in particular. Yep, I'm with you.
And then another one is not define what 3 points of contact is. And why did I put that one last in this little group? Because that's the one everybody complains about.
That's the one that stirs the pot. Yeah. That's the one everybody gets excited about.
So in our world, our solution is we don't require one hand to be on the ladder. And the reason we don't is because the daily work we see.
Well, I think that there's a difference between ascending and descending and the requirements around that. And I think there's a difference between in use and working.
Absolutely. So that's that one. So that's one category. Problems.
Yeah.
All right, another one, inspections. Everyone does the formal inspection. Everyone's stores are beautiful.
Theoretically, we're doing some kind of documented review of our ladders at some point.
But what I worry about is during the day. We're doing a 12-hour project, 5-hour project. You're pulling out, you use the ladder, you put it somewhere. Do you really inspect it when you take it place to place? And that's where the damage occurs. It doesn't get damaged being stored.
Yeah, so there's this weird thing if you pull the ladder down or away from wherever the storage location is to use it, we're not always the best doing a pre-use inspection. Right. Should we be theoretically? Absolutely. Does it always happen? Right. Not always.
I use it at 1 o'clock. You got to use it at 2. We're doing a project, so I'm not going to take it all the way back.
Yeah.
I'm just going to put it over the side somewhere.
I had to scoot it over, and I didn't realize I ripped a foot off when I did that.
Absolutely. Yep. Oh, that's a good one. Feet missing, and not even know what feet missing looks like, because everybody buys a whole bunch of different styles for the same place.
Yeah.
And the feet are all different on them.
Well, it's not always critical. But in a lot of the locations we work in, it's slick floors and it's wet, which is why we have different kinds of boots that we require. And we do boot and tread inspections and things like that. So when you're climbing at elevation, that becomes more important so it doesn't slip out from under you.
Absolutely.
Now we don't have a spotter, maybe we're missing feet on the ladder. Things start to snowball, and that's how we run into problems.
No one ever checks the staircase or the brakes. So you get the rolling staircase and it's still a ladder. It's still inspection, and that it still has pieces that are supposed to keep it stable, supposed to have brakes. People don't check that. And you'll see people just start going to the staircase.
Yeah, a lot of times they don't work. They go to try and use the brake, and they can't get it to actually engage because it's rusted.
All right, category number 3. When to stop because it could cause an injury. Something
where's the end point?
Yeah. So we're going to climb up on some rails and grab a 4-foot ladder, and it puts us over the rails. We do it.
Yeah, so we're already on a platform, but we need a ladder to get higher than where we are.
That's right.
But so there's guardrails.
Put
we add
another
a ladder
rail up or move the ladder in the middle. So, I mean, there's ways to
look at a tie-off situation at that point. Yep.
Another one is climbing off the ladder. We had an episode.
Stepping off the ladder, absolutely.
Yeah, we had an episode about different things about harnesses. And one of the things often people go to climb off of a ladder. It's usually where they have the problem.
We don't always have a tie-off point, or we don't always have the ladder itself tied off. So you go to step off, you kick it out from under you. You don't have a spotter. Again, things start to snowball on you.
Electric cords and hoses. We have a lot of hoses. All our plants have sanitation.
Yep, things wrapped around your feet when you're working.
The ladder, or climbing. Your feet, in between your feet.
Yep.
And if somebody hits that cord or somebody grabs that hose.
Somebody pulls that hose real quick to get it out of the walkway or move it or something.
A few days ago, we had a chain and we took the chains down and we started moving them. And somebody had a portable ladder and the chain was pulling on the portable ladder. And if they don't watch it and it gets stuck and they pull it hard, they knock the whole ladder over with the person on it.
Yep.
So that's another one. And the other one is the tie off makes you reach too far.
Yep, we're outside of the plane now. Now I'm having to lean outside the plane to click into a tie-off point. Well, that's not really the intent of what we're doing. We're tying off to be safer.
Correct.
But we're putting ourselves in a bad situation trying to get to that safer point. So we have to start evaluating, is the ladder in the right spot? Is the tie-off in the right spot? When we start adding some of these processes, we've just got to really double check that we're not adding things to put ourselves in a worse situation.
Absolutely. Another one in this category, when to stop, is weather protocols.
Yes.
I had 70-mile-an-hour winds earlier this week in a project, and we can't be using ladders during that time.
Winds, lightning. I would even say things like if we've got permanent ladders and we've got any kind of frost or ice buildup.
Absolutely.
Especially, obviously that they would be outside in that moment. So when I'm thinking of that, I'm thinking of we don't have any kind of grip on the round rung of the ladder, or we haven't changed them out to the
boots
flat.
Are slick. They got everything on them.
Yeah, we haven't changed them out to the flat styles.
So that's that category. Last category, storage. We're not talking about where you just store it and it looks pretty. We're talking about, what if I'm 5'8" and it's a 15-foot ladder and I store it hanging all the way up on the wall and I got to pull it down.
That's almost training in a way to me.
Yeah, because I got to pull that ladder down. All that force is above my head.
We usually don't talk about in training, hey, if you've got a ladder and it's this much taller than you are, maybe you need to get a certain person, or for a 10-foot ladder, 8-foot ladder, whatever. Yeah, we never really have that discussion about how we're going to manage the height differences.
Another thing about storage is when they're leaned during the day. It seems like everywhere you go during the day, there's storage, and then there's storage while we're working.
Yep.
We don't call it that. We say, no, it's in use. No one's on or using it or moving around. Is it really in use? But they store it. They lean it on something. That gets knocked over and something else.
We went to break, but we don't really want to put it back.
On the walkways, storage. So we see a lot of them were elevated. You'll see like ladder sideways on a catwalk.
Yeah.
And you got to remember, those mid rails are up there a little bit.
Yeah.
So if you don't watch it, you could pick up that ladder, knock that ladder, and it goes over the edge.
Yeah. Yep.
The other one is not secured. So when they pull one, they all come down.
Yeah, so if you've got a whole bunch of different ones and they're held all by one chain, maybe you've got a variety of different sizes and styles all in the same storage location.
You pull off the
Sounds great.
ladder, 2 6-foot ladders in front of it, they're all coming down.
Or they're all vertical. Yeah. They're not slanted at all.
Absolutely. Too many stored together.
Yep.
So you got 5 and 6
I'm trying to dig in
with
there.
one big chain.
Yeah, I'm trying to dig in there and get the one that I need to do the job correctly. And they all come with it. Or I'm trying to move stuff around and they fall and hit somebody else or equipment or something. Yep.
The wrong area for the job. That is a huge one to me.
Yeah, so we're storing the ladders in the location where there was wall space, not in the areas where we actually use them.
But it's 150 feet away around 2 conveyors. I'm not getting it.
Yeah.
I want to go to the barn here and get a ladder. I'll be like, can this chair and these boxes make it? Do I really got to go all the way out to the barn?
Yeah, 3 rooms away. You got to wonder, are we climbing on equipment and standing on that to do it? Right. Because it's a little easier. Are we going 3 rooms to carry it back and then slamming everything on our walk back?
Yeah. And then the last one is where's storage during the day for 12 hours of use. Now, we had the leaning, but we also had this random world where because I just did a project a few days ago. As we're doing projects, these ladders show up everywhere during the day as they move. They have their own life.
Yeah.
And I spend a lot of time saying, can we barricade off the ladder area and just at least put them in that area so they're not just everywhere? Because we still got PITs
truck
traffic and loaders and people and platforms moving. There's still all this other stuff moving. You got a cable to a welder they're bringing around. All this stuff is still in motion.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we've got cables and cords and extension cords. And
absolutely. Running a grinder. The one we had a few days ago, they're doing some welding and they're grinding. Well, they've got every kind of cord going to that.
Yeah, they got a lot of
and they're going up
hoses.
And they're going up a ladder, but they keep a spare ladder in case they need something else. But that ladder has its own life now of having its own injuries if you don't watch it.
Yep. So just as a really quick reminder, this is our opinion.
Yep.
Take it how you want. Still do a thorough risk assessment because every situation is different. We understand that each industry has its own unique thing.
Absolutely.
So still do a risk Still do a risk assessment at your facility.
Absolutely. So how do we? What's solutions for these? How do we manage these?
So the way I would manage these is first the problems. Look at your individual operations. Evaluate what out of that list you can realistically see. Maybe go out and do some observations. Behavior-based observations would be my thing.
Yeah.
I'd start with that and then take those and figure out as a management team, how do we want to handle this? We still have to do the process. We still have to, put product out the door.
Part of your pre-planning for a project.
But, how are we going to manage these? So pre-planning, doing any kind of elevated work assessments are always helpful.
Yep.
And then in areas where you can, look at engineering control. So can we put a tie-off? Can we put a platform?
I don't want to use a ladder from key front.
Yeah. Can we put something permanent in place if this is a daily function?
Right.
How can we manage that out? And then I would look at starting to write some of these things in terms of defining what 3 points of contact is, what you and your management team or your company, maybe they've dictated that to you already,
Correct.
What that's going to be for your corporation.
Do a ladder storage evaluation. We've done that before. We walk around the plant and say, where
are we using these?
Yeah, where can we put these at?
And then, let's find a location within that room, immediate area.
Right.
To make it simple. How can we make this process simple? Maybe we have hooks instead of a chain. I mean, but
correct.
The other thing is where are we putting the hooks so that we're not lifting it up and then going backwards with the ladder? So doing an evaluation of, okay, what of this list do we have at our location? Writing those kinds of fixes and solutions or how you're going to manage that either into your training, into a ladder program, or if you don't have a separate ladder program, looking at writing that into an elevated work. Things like how are we going to manage the pre-use inspections? Are we documenting those or are we not? How are we going to manage all of that out? I would look at using a safety program and the training piece as kind of the thing where you document all of those solutions.
A few years ago, we did nothing but try to figure out how not to use them.
Yeah.
So that's
that would be
every
first.
time you decide in a meeting, we need one. Your next thought ought to be, how do we not use it?
Why? Is there another solution?
Because then you get out of all this.
Yep. Was there another solution where I can give them a platform instead of having them carry up a hose with one hand and
Absolutely.
Now we're struggling? Yeah.
Even a hose connection. We've done that before. We'll put the hose connection up top.
Somewhere else.
So you just connect up there and not have to drag it up with you.
Yep. So how can you use engineering controls to, if you have to use a ladder, a rolling staircase, some kind of elevated situation, how can we at least make the job easier?
Absolutely.
Look at brainstorming with your engineering team. Let's get them involved. Let's get the end user involved.
Absolutely.
I think that's always helpful. They've got some really great ideas, especially our mechanics. They can come up with some really cool stuff. So I would involve them and, just start slowly working through them one at a time.
One at a time. Every one you can eliminate is a win.
Yeah. I think that's it for us. You can reach out to us, Joe Allen, Jen Allen on LinkedIn. We're on LinkedIn. We've got TikTok. We've got Facebook.
We got a YouTube channel too.
We're YouTube. But if YouTube doesn't work for you, you can download us anywhere podcasts are available. So you can reach out to us there. We're also on Instagram, all of the things. So reach out, comment. We'd love to hear from you guys. If there's a certain subject that you want to hear, just go ahead, private message us, and we'll try and work it in. So,
thank you, everyone.
Have a great week, everybody. Take care.
Thank you for listening to Safe, Efficient, Profitable, a worker safety podcast. If you're looking for more in-depth discussions or step-by-step solutions on all of the different safety and regulatory topics, please visit us at www.allensafetycoaching.com for web-based virtual coaching and training, or at www.allen-safety.com to book our team for on-site services, training sessions, to order merchandise, to learn more about our team and what services we provide in the field, or just simply to request a topic for us to cover on our next podcast. If you found today's podcast helpful and would like to support our podcast further, please help us by subscribing, liking, and sharing this podcast with anyone that could benefit from the information we cover here, as that helps us to continue to put out this free content. Thank you so much for your support.